right, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of SideQuest Podcast. Listen in and level up. I have a great episode for you today, but first, as always, let's get through the show notes. If you're not following the Facebook page, head over to Facebook, type SideQuest Fitness into the search bar, and like the page. There, you're going to get updates on podcast episodes, articles when they get posted, and you're going to get a brand new taco recipe every Tuesday for Taco Camp. Plus lots of other shenanigans and nerd talk throughout the week, so make sure you head over to Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is SideQuestFM. If you want to see some cool videos and random stuff on Instagram as well, you can follow me on Instagram, same handle, SideQuestFM, or follow me on Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. Send me your questions. I want to get all the questions from you, help you as much as I can on your fitness journey or your journey in life, whatever it may be. But head over to Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. You get a little more personal, in-depth look at the shenanigans I get into throughout every day. But I do love getting questions from the community, so please send them out to me. If you have not left a review for the podcast, please head over to iTunes. If you're not listening on iTunes and you listen on SoundCloud or Stitcher, leave a review there as well. When you leave reviews, it helps me move up the charts on the iTunes store so that more people can see and hear the amazing guests that I've had on and have on each and every single week. So make sure you head over there. And don't forget, if you haven't picked up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss, head over to sidequestfitness.com/7 principles, and you can pick up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss. These are the same 7 principles I follow each and every day and teach my clients to help them shred away more body fat, unlock heroic strength, and just look better naked. So if you want to unlock strength or just look better naked in the mirror, head over again, grab those 7 principles of fat loss, and start following those today. With 2017 right around the corner, that means you are starting to think about New Year's resolutions. Fitness and getting in shape is one of the biggest resolutions people make every year. But every year, halfway through January, almost 30% of people have given up. They quit. 6 months in, that number is even smaller, of people who are still going with their New Year's resolution. But why wait? Why wait until the gyms get packed in January? Why put it off until after the holidays? Start today. I still have a few spots open in my online coaching program. So if you're interested in losing fat, building strength, or gaining muscle this winter, head over to sidequestfitness.com/coach and apply today. My program is custom designed for your specific goals. I'll tell you exactly what you need to do or not to do to help you finally achieve your goal of gaining strength, losing fat, or building muscle. You have constant accountability. I know what it's like to do this by yourself. It's dangerous to go alone. And most of the time, that's what you try to do in the new year. You try and do this alone. You hire a trainer at the local gym, but they only keep you accountable when you see them. And the real battle is out in the real world, not in the gym. The real world is where you spend the majority of the time. And with an online coach, you have access to me 24/7 to answer your questions and help you succeed in your goals. You can consider me your Gandalf guiding you on your quest. You also get access to an app that I use online that you can use on your phone. So your program is right there no matter what, with videos to guide you through the exercises if you have any questions on anything. So if you want to stop feeling weak, unconfident, or depressed about how you look naked, then head over to sidequestfitness.com/coach and apply today. And let's start kicking some ass together. Let's get your goals on track for the new year. And let's not wait until 2017 to get started. Let's start today. Let's start kicking some ass, shredding some fat, putting on muscle, or leveling up your strength today. So head over to sidequestfitness.com/coach and apply. I should have done this last year. I should have done it last year for episode 7, and I didn't, but instead I'm doing it this year for Rogue One. Guys, we're going to do nothing in this episode but geek the fuck out about Star Wars. Me, Tanner Bays, and Peter Baker, both of those guys returned to the show to talk about Star Wars, how it's influenced our lives, why we love it, how we first got introduced to it, how we're so excited for Rogue One and what's going on, because this week it hits theaters. I'm hoping for the best. I just you'll hear in the episode what I want. I want to see Vader back. I want to see Vader back. As one of my email subscribers said, I hope that he comes back and they make Vader great again. And that's what I want. I need to see Vader great again on screen. So guys, let's get into it. Geek out with me. This is the first one. There's no fitness. There's none of that. We're going to talk about nothing but Star Wars and why it's important to us. So join me on this episode and geek out with me. And then let me know via email or on Twitter as well how Star Wars is important to you and what it means to you, or any of the questions we ask in this episode. Let's get into it.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records, and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. I have a fantastic episode today. It is the week. If you're listening to this past when Rogue One comes out, then you've already seen it, and it's probably as awesome as the trailers. But this is the week that Rogue One comes out. I should have done this last year for episode 7. I did not. But we are going to do a Coach's Corner on all things Star Wars. I have my good friend Peter Baker here, and the one and only Tanner Bays joins me. And we're going to do nothing but geek out on our love of Star Wars and everything Star Wars, and maybe talk a little bit about what we hope in Rogue One. I really just want to see Darth Vader force choke someone and use them as a human shield, because that's a rumor that I heard. I need to see that. Because after Frankenvader, I need Darth Vader to like redeem himself, that he's the evil lord of the Sith. And according to last week's guest, he told me that the Star Wars Rebels series on Disney, Darth Vader is the badass, but I've not seen it, so I don't know.
I'll believe that. I haven't seen it though, so I can't.
Well, until Disney starts putting stuff on Netflix, there's no way I'm going to see it. So
yeah.
All right. So first question: when did you guys first watch the amazingness that was Star Wars? What was your first introduction? And if it was the Christmas special, I'm so sorry.
No, I was 11 years old, and they did the re-release in 1997 of the when they did the special editions. Before that, I never saw it, and all my friends were like, "Oh, you haven't seen Star Wars, you stupid fucking bitch! You're a piece of shit," basically. And they said that in 5th grade. And then, so my father took me to go see the special editions of A New Hope, and they released them every 3 weeks, and I was like, "Hey, these movies are pretty good." Then my great grandpa bought me for Christmas. At the time, the special edition videos, in that little gold box with the Darth Vader face.
I still have them somewhere.
And then,
dude, those are literally sitting like 3 feet away from me right now.
Yeah, and so then, because back in those days, I used to like to build model cars and stuff like that. I found at the store they had this Millennium Falcon model that you put together, and when you with the glue and all that and the paint, and I was like, man, that was pretty cool. And then had these little miniature Chewbacca and Han Solo figures that you got to paint to put inside the actual cockpit of the Millennium Falcon as well. So it was a pretty detailed model, and so when I wasn't huffing the glue, I was building that son of a bitch. I don't actually huff glue.
So quick, just because you said it, I just realized this. Did they say Falcon only because they were filming in London at the time, and then because no American I know calls it the Millennium Falcon, even though in the movies that's usually how it's pronounced.
I probably so, man. I would have to think.
Okay,
like our grating American accent makes it totally the Falcon. So I don't know why they didn't just call it that. I would have to, unless everyone
speaks in a British accent, like every HBO show ever made,
or every HBO show ever made. But or just slightly British in some words, like Falcon. Yeah. So,
well, what's James Earl Jones's excuse? Because I'm pretty sure he didn't fly out to London to record the Darth Vader part, and he still calls it the Falcon.
Well, he doesn't actually say it in A New Hope. I don't think he calls it by the ship's name.
Oh no, I don't. Yeah, that's probably not until Empire Strikes Back.
So right? I would assume that because of someone was on some continuity officer was on their A game for that one,
dude. Which is really impressive, since obviously A New Hope was not like a really high budget film, so somebody was on their game.
Yeah. So Tanner, when were you first introduced to Star Wars?
I was first introduced. I'm the young one of this group, so whoa. That box set of VHS tapes that came out in I think it was 1997 for the 20-year anniversary. I was 7 years old at the time, and my parents got it for me, and I watched all three back to back to back, and that I was so hooked. I was so hooked from that point forward.
All right, I think Peter's messing with his headset or something there.
There.
Sorry.
No, you're all good. You're all good. So I have to admit, I think I've admitted this before. I'm not sure. My first introduction to Star Wars was not through Star Wars. My first introduction to Star Wars was through the Ewok movies.
Really?
Yep. I first saw the Ewok movies as a kid. And I remember being like, how I remember some things when I'm 4 or 5 and don't remember things from college or high school. I blame the weed. But I remember being at my aunt's in Florida and watching the Ewok movies, and it was like on rotation. It was either Ewok movies or like Voltron or the Ninja Turtles that I was watching as a kid. And I was like, oh, I thought they were little teddy bears that talked and did whatever they did. And it was just cute for me. I was a kid. And then I remember someone in my family, maybe one of my cousins, being like, they're in another movie called Star Wars. And I'm like, what? No. And he showed me Star Wars, and it was over. Done. Game over. Obsessed. Started collecting toys. 97, I was in the theaters for 3 weeks watching all of them, the special edition. I signed up for the Star Wars magazine, geeked out over all of the artwork for episode 1 when they were teasing episode 1. Damn near knocked a dude over. So one night one of my friends had an emergency. We had to run into the emergency room, and this was in high school. And we're there, and we're outside waiting for them to figure stuff out and let us know what's going on. And we're outside, and this guy walks up. And he's like, oh, yeah, I've been working on the set of episode 2, and I have pictures. And I just bolted through all of my friends and damn near put them all in the hospital, knocked them down. I was like, what? I have to see this guy. And he's, shit you not, some random dude in the hospital, in the emergency room, High Point, North Carolina, rolls out a bunch of photos, behind the scene photos of episode 2. And I'm just geeking out in the parking lot of the emergency room. So yeah, I was there for opening day of episode 1. I've been a Star Wars nerd my whole life. But I came to it through the Ewok movies.
Dude, I had a choreographed lightsaber fight at the midnight premiere of episode 3.
Okay, jealous because I wanted to dress up and do all of that, and some of my friends thought I was lame.
Yeah, dude, my I had a couple of friends that were huge Star Wars fans and also huge Harry Potter fans. So for every book or movie release, we went to the midnight release, and we fucking had lightsabers, and we had been practicing a lightsaber fight for a week, and we had that shit in the line.
I remember going to one, and I saw a dude dressed up in Jedi robes, and I really wanted them. So I've never gotten them, but soon robes will happen. I am very thankful that YouTube did not exist when I was a kid, because I was the Star Wars kid. I was in my basement, I had 20 feet of just flat concrete, and I was lightsaber battling with a broomstick by myself. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And making the noises
exactly.
So when I walk into an automatic door, I do this. Time.
You wave your hand.
Yeah, I do. Sometimes if I'm not trying to be noticed, I'll do it low key, at my side. But yeah, for the most part, almost every time.
Oh man.
Oh, that's hilarious. So who was your favorite? Like, I'm assuming as you get older, you maybe your characters change or not. But did you have a character that over time, like, you gravitated more towards, or has your favorite always been your favorite?
Oh man, that's a really good question.
I've actually, as I've gotten older, I've wanted to learn more about, like, and see more about Lando's life. So I'm actually really pumped they've casted Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, to play a young Lando Calrissian. I think that, like, I've really wanted to see more about, like, that life. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's been the big one. Like, when the prequels came out, I was really all about Mace Windu. So if we could get some more Mace Windu action at some point, I would love that. That's been about it. Like, I mean, obviously, everybody loves Luke.
Yeah. You do get some good Mace Windu action if you watch the first two Clone Wars that came out in like 2002, like the first two seasons. Yeah, those are good. Those are amazing. Right. The ones that came after Episode 3 are awful. Too.
Like, everybody was in the theater whenever Episode 3 came out, and they're like, "Why the hell is General Grievous weaving and stuff like that?" Well, because Mace Windu fucking force crushed his lungs.
Yeah.
Right. Right. They don't do a good job of, like, explaining that in that movie. But yeah, no, the first two Clone Wars were great.
There's a lot of things they don't do a very good job of explaining in Episode 3. One thing they still have never explained, and this is the one question I need answered before I died. How can Leia have known her real mother, as Luke asks her in Episode 6, if her real mother died in childbirth?
Yeah.
Like, does he remember the movies that he wrote? Like, that's my biggest problem. I'm fine with Frankenvader. I'm fine with, like, Anakin as a kid in Episode 1.
What is Frankenvader? You keep saying this.
So in Revenge of the Sith, when he is, like, the mask comes on and you hear the
no,
Frankenvader, because it's basically like he's Frankenstein and now he's yelling no. The one line that James Earl Jones gets to record, not one, there's like three, but still, where's Padme? Come on.
Yeah.
So many things, but we're talking the original. So I'm really super stoked that Rogue One looks really good, and that they're going in between.
Maybe Leia didn't know that she was adopted.
But Luke.
By the way, what was her adopted mother's name? You had Senator Bail Organa. What was the?
I don't remember. I will look up real quick. Bail
asked me that. I was literally stumped. I had no fucking clue what Leia's adopted mother's name was. I just said Mrs. Organa because, you know, the whole marriage thing.
Breha, Breha.
Nice. But no, I still stand by my favorite characters. I've always liked Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I always liked Han Solo. And throughout the prequels, I mean, Obi-Wan proved to be a fucking solid ass dude.
He did.
Well,
he did.
And it's interesting that you say both of those characters, because they're both characters who actors had a line they did not like and changed in, like, filming that actually made sense for the character and for the movie. We all know that I love you, and Han was supposed to say I love you too, and Harrison Ford was like, no. Han Solo,
that's so lame.
Yeah. Han Solo don't play that game. I know.
Yeah.
Better, well done. And the other one is when Obi-Wan slices and knocks the legs off of Anakin and he falls down. He delivers the line in the movie that says, I loved you. But originally it was, I love you. And he was like, no, George, Anakin's dead. Like, he's no longer, he's Darth Vader now. Like, I loved Anakin, not who, I don't love you now.
Alec Guinness basically hated the entire thing, which is why he wanted to die.
Yeah, because there's a story that some kid came up and asked him for his autograph because he was Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he was like, I will only give you the autograph if you promise to never watch those wretched films ever again.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah, dude, he hated it. He did not like it.
He hated them. He thought they were poorly written. But
I mean, the dialogue in episode 4 kind of was, but
well, and to be honest, if you go back and you look at episode 4, it like you can look at movies that are very well written movies. It's not a great well written movie, but one, it follows Campbell. It follows the hero's myth. It's a story that we all know. And at the time, like
it was great.
Well, come on, it was. I loved it in '97. I love watching Star Wars at home, but it doesn't feel the same unless you're in a theater when that Star Destroyer, like that, it blew people's minds. Like it was,
right.
Yeah, it was so good, and the special effects were pretty good, and they weren't like super cheesy.
No, not at all. I mean, but you know, from a cinematic standpoint, the real pinnacle of the entire saga is probably The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, dude, I would agree with you. That's my favorite movie.
That's a good movie in general. Like, you know, it's up there to me with like Apocalypse Now or The Godfather 2.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
If you,
I can see that.
Yeah.
And the guy who directed it went on to direct RoboCop 2 as his ultimate piece before he died, Irvin Kershner.
Yeah. Well, and Kershner. So, from what I understand, is I think Kershner taught at USC when Lucas was there, and Lucas was like, "Look, I already have all this shit going on. I've written it. I've got all the marketing stuff that people want me to handle. Like, there's so much that I'm trying to be in charge of for what I created." And he was like, "I'm going to bring Irving on because he sort of also understood that it was a bit more of a character movie, and Kershner was just a lot better at handling the characters than getting real deep into them." And that was one reason why Lucas brought him on. But I think it was a good decision because I think we saw in the prequels what happens when Lucas has complete creative control. Because if you watch some of the behind-the-scenes stuff in the DVD extras in those, he'll say things, and there are looks captured on camera by people who are like, "I really want to tell you how dumb of a choice this is, but I can't." So nice. I think I wonder how the prequels would have been if someone else had directed them.
So who knows? Now we got Disney.
So I'm assuming Empire is your favorite then, both of you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I really like Revenge of the Sith as well. I mean, it's no Empire, but that's probably like up there as far as one of my favorites in the saga. I mean, it was sad when Mace Windu died. I mean, you know, it's fucking Samuel.
I mean, look, Revenge of the Sith is by far and away the best prequel.
Yes.
Like there's no doubting that. And it stands head and shoulders above the other prequels. Not to mention there's some pretty epic fighting in Revenge of the Sith. So
a good use of dramatic irony as well.
Yeah, so that's actually a great point. But yeah, I won't put Revenge of the Sith up near Empire, but man, I do enjoy Revenge of the Sith. I actually watched Revenge of the Sith while we were all back in Austin.
Nice. Yeah. Because it is the best. I mean, in prequels, I would go Sith, Menace, Clones. The love story is so awful. The love story is so... Dude, the love story is... I can't handle it. It's just...
The only redeeming factor of Phantom Menace was the fact that Liam Neeson was in it.
The most stoic Marcus Aurelius character ever.
Yeah. That also happens to be reckless, but I don't know. Dude, he was awesome. I wish they wouldn't have killed him off. Yeah.
It's kind of sad that Schindler had to get killed in space. But you know,
what if Qui-Gon Jinn had a spin-off and it was Qui-Gon, but in the world of Taken? Like, imagine how badass Qui-Gon Jinn would be.
Dude, and he then you know, because of the Lazarus Pit, I guess he was able to come back and train Batman. So there's that.
That's so true.
Qui-Gon, true, yeah. Oh,
old Ra's al Ghul.
All right, so we've set. Jedi has always been my favorite, just because it was the end of the story as we knew it. I don't know. There's just something about it. Maybe it was also because I, first was introduced through the Ewoks and they were in that, so that sort of became my favorite as a kid. But I do agree that Empire is the best. I know why it's the best. I just like Jedi. My hope with that, like Rogue One, is that they don't try and do too much fan service. I really want to see some cool stuff.
Yeah.
The more that comes out about the young Han Solo film, maybe I'll have a change of heart. I can't, it would be like going to see Harry Potter and it not being, what's his name?
Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah. Like if Harry was not Daniel Radcliffe, like they decided to do Harry when he is the supreme leader of Hogwarts, or the head wizard or whatever. But
Daniel Radcliffe also isn't 70.
No, his
right,
life
but that's what I'm saying. Is like
climactic if you read the Cursed Child screenplay. Like his life is not what you'd hope for one Harry Potter. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Well, I actually refuse to read it up to this point, so don't ruin anything for me.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't know. I might change my tune on that one. But I don't know. I'm hoping for some cool stuff. I'm assuming that we're going to get some nods to Rogue Squadron, obviously Rogue One.
I heard Tarkin was going to be in it.
Well, they had.
How the fuck's that going to work?
Well, they did it like via CG at the end of Sith. So unless they found someone who can look like him, who might be slightly younger, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That chick who plays Mon Mothma at this time around too looks almost exactly like the chick from Jedi, which is pretty
awesome. Yeah.
Funny enough, she is the one who played Mon Mothma in all of the prequel movies, but basically had all of her shit cut.
Yeah, I heard that. That should be good.
Yeah, so that one's pretty cool. I like that they are sort of bringing in a little bit of the Clone Wars with Forrest Whitaker's character. So that's kind of like you get a little young people who will understand. They know who that character is. And we as fans know who Mon Mothma is, and it'll be cool to kind of see like how the Death Star really gets built, and you only saw like the outline blueprint of it in the.
I bet we get a pretty serious trailer for Episode 8.
I would hope or even at the end.
Oh yeah, that would be sweet.
Yeah. But the Brits get it before us, like a day or two before. So lucky bastards.
We'll ask Adam. Well, no, we won't ask Adam how it is because he hates Star Wars.
Yeah.
Why does he hate Star Wars?
Because he's a fucking Brit.
So how, like, obviously being the giant nerd, and Tanner and I, we've had this conversation. Like, you see Star Wars in so much of everything, and I equate so much to it that my wife just shakes her head because she doesn't get it sometimes. She's like, oh, whatever. But where else in your life do you find, or do you connect Star Wars to?
Shit, I connected to almost everywhere. Like everybody, every time somebody says I'm going to try to do something, I'm like, well, you should probably either do it or don't do it because go try.
Do or do not. There is no try.
I say that all the time. I mean, it's the same thing. If you're trying to max out your deadlift, now you either will or you won't. That's it.
Yeah.
You either lift that weight or you won't. One way or the other.
I no joke. I had a conversation with Omar Ganai in the Motivate Forum Facebook group a while back about the hero's journey and whatnot, and how we use like the story, like the hero's journey framework to help coaching. And I mentioned like I'm a big fan of like making use of that for my clients to help like get points across or reframe things. And like one of the easiest ways to do that is use the ubiquity of Star Wars, because everybody knows Star Wars. Even if you're not like a fan or like this rabid,
You know it.
yeah, you know it. Like, you know what happened to Luke, you know the journey that he goes on, you know about old Ben Kenobi, and so it's really, really easy. Like, if somebody is like maybe refusing their call, or if they're unsure about this coaching process early on after they've signed up, and they're like, well, like, why do I need you if I've got all of this info that's for free on the internet, or things like that. So it's like actually like a daily thing that goes on, like, in my work and email interaction with clients, which obviously like makes like this inner nerd in me so happy. And I mean, even like one of the questions on my online coaching form is, what color lightsaber would you have? So it's like from that point forward, it's like people get it.
I mean, one of the questions I have in an email that goes out when people grab the 7 principles of fat loss is Star Wars or Star Trek. I just want to know what you're a fan of. Now, how you answer that, I may have my own opinions, but I just want to know, are you Star Wars or Star Trek? Because let's be honest, there's kind of, Tanner, I know you said you haven't. Peter, you, I'm assuming, probably have. Have you seen Fanboys?
No.
Okay. Anyone who's listening, you need to go to Amazon. I don't think it's on Netflix. See if it's on Amazon Prime, or just buy it. It's really cheap. It's called Fanboys. It's a movie that it was in development for years because the Weinstein brothers were kind of being dicks about it. But it has, like, Seth Rogen has like 2 parts in it. He plays 2 characters. But it's got the guy from the ping pong movie, Balls of Fire, Balls of Fury.
Oh, yeah.
It's got him. It has Kristen Bell, who, by the way, shows up in a Leia bikini at the end. Worth it. Danny, the guy, Foot Fist Way, Danny McBride is in it. And then a couple other
this
people. Sounds
awesome.
Oh, and it's got the kid from Final Destination, like the first movie. He's like one of the main characters. So one of their friends finds out that he has cancer, he's going to die, and he won't be able to see episode 1. There's a chance he might not be able to see it. So they hop in a van, and they drive cross country to sneak into Skywalker Ranch to watch the movie before their friend dies. Danny Trejo is also in it as like an Indian who gives the kid peyote. So the whole thing is like their trip, and they come across these Star Trek nerds in like Iowa, in the city where like supposedly Kirk is from. And there's this whole fight between Seth Rogen as this like really nerdy Star Trek guy. And they start this huge like fisticuff that spans the whole movie of like Star Trek versus Star Wars fans, which is kind of true in some respects and kind of not.
Speaking of the application question on your coaching application, I used to have, and I've changed it to your Hogwarts house, but I used to ask what their favorite Star Wars movie was. And I put in parentheses, there's only one correct answer. And I was able to typically guess how they would progress as a client based on
Were you really?
Yes. If they were not fans and they weren't witty about it, they didn't last.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Hilarious. No, but yeah, I see it. It connects to everything in my life, and I remember that conversation because the hero's journey is so true, and I think that's we see it in Harry Potter, you see it in The Matrix, you see it in like basically almost every fantasy novel ever in some respect. I guess you see it. I'm trying to think like as characters in Game of Thrones, if you see it.
You see it in the religious myths all the time. Like,
yeah, you see it in religious myths. You see it in the myths of ancient societies as well. But it's an archetype that just translates, and it's why Star Wars connects, and why so many people like. Really, Episode 7 was like Episode 4.5, but
right.
It worked
that's
because
what I wanted it to be.
right. Like now, I'm like, yes, give me the next stuff. Let's go with let's go. And I still felt like there were some nods to other sci-fi things within Episode 7 as well. But no, I'm really excited for where the series is going. I think Episode 8 is probably going to be a really trippy sort of mindfuck, probably. But But again, like Empire, we need something dark and foreboding and
right.
Get Zack Snyder to direct it. It'd be all right.
Dude.
Get out of here. Here's the thing. Let me ask you, what director, and I'll start off, what director would you want to see take a Star Wars film, and what character or sort of storyline would you want to see him take? I'll go first. Quentin Tarantino directs the Boba Fett film.
Fuck you, man. I was so just going to go Tarantino. You know what? I might want to go like Wes Anderson with give me Wes Anderson with like Han. That would be so fucking weird, but I feel like I would enjoy that.
You're pretentious as shit, bro. I mean, I like Wes Anderson, but so yeah, I don't know. Probably, goddamn, probably Ridley Scott. I'd like to see him do episode 9.
Okay,
you know what? I could see Ridley Scott getting, because I think he's done sci-fi before, and he's grown now like even more as a director with more stuff that he's done.
Hey, here's what I was thinking, right? Because I'm a big fan of Alien and Aliens. And Aliens, of course, was James Cameron, and he's for some reason he has this real good.
Dude, George Lucas would shit himself if they gave James Cameron a Star Wars film. He would literally probably burn Disney he would try and burn Disney to the ground.
Probably be a great move though, because I mean, Terminator 2 was better than the Terminator.
Yes.
And Aliens, I think, was better than Alien, the first one. Like, I mean, even though they were both fantastic, even Terminator 1's fantastic too. But for some reason, it's about those sequels, man. The sequels are insanely epic, but even Ridley Scott, what he did with Ripley as the female protagonist, what could he do with Rey, in terms of making a movie? Who knows?
True. Yeah. All right, so Ridley Scott. So I was saving this question for sort of the midway point. We talked about like what is our favorite, who we want to see. I'm assuming no one will answer anything in the prequels, but maybe. What scene, or are there scenes that just like when you think of Star Wars, that's the scene you think of, or ones that just always sort of like get you excited or hit you like in the feels?
Oh shit! You think of Obi-Wan cutting off that weird alien guy in Mos Eisley Cantina because he was talking shit to Luke.
That's not the scene I think of, but all right.
Yeah, that is not the scene I think of. I love how quickly you jumped to that though.
Man, that was that I mean, he's this peaceful old guy, right? And then you see him do that, and it's like, man, you might not want to fuck with this old guy.
Yeah,
this old guy's probably been through some shit. And then it turns out he was. He killed his disciple almost and let him burn by a pit of lava.
Yeah, turns out Obi-Wan has been through a lot of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he had to stay in a desert by himself for like 15 years until Luke got old enough for him to start hanging out with him.
Yeah.
And then he rode that weird fucking reptile on Geonosis, I think it was.
Dude.
Wait, was it Geonosis? I don't know.
Yes, it was Geonosis.
Dude,
No, it was Utapau.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was Utapau. Actually,
yes.
No, he rode 2. He rode one on Geonosis, and then he rode one on Utapau.
Yeah, but the one on Utapau was so cool. It was so... Dude, you know what? Honestly, man, like now that you've actually mentioned that, I know we said we probably wouldn't mention anything from the prequels, but I do always come back to Execute Order 66, and I'm like, ugh, my heart.
Well, that's also too because some morons in the fitness industry adopted it for as a way to excommunicate people, which is sad because they're defacing Star Wars.
That's true.
I actually didn't know that. Wow.
I'll tell you guys about it offline.
All right. Deal.
I remember we in my Star Wars gaming clan, Dark Side Alliance, darksidealliance.com, check them out. We did the same thing for people that we had to like kick out. The Emperor would just be like, execute Order 66. Done, you're out, you're over, you're no more. See ya.
That was
goodbye.
a heavy scene too, by the way. That was a heavy scene. That's another good thing about Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, that was a really heavy scene, man.
Yeah. I mean, I still personally, and only because I really wanted to see Vader go real to the dark side, I wanted to see a bit more than just I turn on a lightsaber and like a 5-year-old kid jumps backwards. Like I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of him like really destroying the temple, because like I think you needed to see that full like I've gone full bad side and now I'm killing all my friends.
Right.
Because there was no
with
conflict. There was no conflict for his character. It was like, okay, I guess I'll kill Mace Windu. I don't know. That's just me. But
I like that you want to see children die on screen.
I didn't say you got to kill children. I mean, you could see bodies scattered, but like other young sort of people, or even people in the temple, like more than just I'm going to walk in with stormtroopers, throw on a lightsaber, and then cut. Like a little bit more of like let's really see a little bit of that security footage. And I know that some people would say, well, but that's good. It's a good directing choice. It sort of makes you go, oh, this must be really bad. But at that point, like the only conflict he had was I'm going to sit down and have a conversation with Sidious or Palpatine, and then he's going to tell me that he basically can like save people from dying, and then I'm going to find out he's a Sith, and then tell the Jedi, and then they're going to go, and then I'm going to stop Mace Windu from killing him because why? Like there wasn't enough conflict for me, so I wanted to see a little bit more of why he really became a badass. But my scene, end all be all, is always the double sun Tatooine as Luke is standing and looking into the sunset. And I know when I asked Roman what his next tattoo, his next sleeve was going to be, he said it was going to be that, and I was just like, can you stop making me love you anymore? Like that, like I have tried to put into words what that scene means, but like, you know, I put that post up a few weeks ago about like what Taking Back Sunday sort of meant to me and driving home. Like that scene is that hope that you can get out of bumfuck nowhere, and that like great adventure can happen in your life. And like most people who don't grow up in a city, and even if you grew up in a city and you're in a crappy place, like that's that hope, that's that signal that like there's more to life. I can be more. And I haven't found a way to put that scene into words, but still, as soon as those strings hit, like I get a little emotional. Even at 30 years old, it still happens.
That's classic, man.
Yeah, my only hope is that maybe there's a scene like that for someone else in one of the new films. Because I don't know how. I don't know. I hope that my nephew, when he watched it, was like, he enjoyed it, but I don't think he did. So he's probably too young. What's a good age, actually? Like, if you ever have kids, at what age do you think you can show Star Wars to a kid to where they really appreciate it and get it?
Like 10, 11?
I mean, dude, I saw it at 7 and I really appreciated it. So, I mean, I became a raving fan immediately after that. So,
yeah, I was going to say 7 or 8 is probably like.
I mean, I could plan on having kids around the release of a Star Wars movie and then being the right age. I totally would.
Well, I think you're going to have a Star Wars movie every year for the next probably 10 years or so. So we'll see.
Yeah, it really seems like they're really going to build out this universe pretty thoroughly, and I'm very excited about that.
What I wanted as a kid, at least me, I'm like, man, they should make movies of all this stuff.
Yeah,
doing it, and now people are butthurt about it a little bit.
Well, if only they can continue doing that with Harry Potter.
No, man. Like, have you read some of the shit on Pottermore? Like,
I have. I've read through a lot of Pottermore.
Dude, there's some not so great Star Wars stuff out there too.
Here's a good little quote I made up. But man, let's see if I don't fuck it up. You can take the colonies away from the British, but you can't take the British out of colonialization. Something like that. But that's what I thought whenever I read like about her Ivermorny school or whatever, the North American school.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, you need to fix. She should have, apparently, according to a friend of mine who's a big Potter fan, she said that Stephen King asked J.K. Rowling to, hey, let me do some shit in your universe, and she was like, nah, you can't. How fucking cool would that have been?
Man, I really hope that's not true, because that would have been sad.
I think it would have been pretty cool. I mean, but that's the thing is like, for a while, Lucas was like Rowling, where he had complete control over books and like anything that came out. Like he would say, yes, this is canon, or no, this isn't. So like the Thrawn series, he was like, if I were to do like an 7, 8, 9, like this is what I would want to do. And then everything else, comics and video games, as well became canon until Disney decided, and they are wrong. I don't care what anyone says. All of that is still canon to this day, forever and always, because if the Protestants and the Catholics can have two different canonical Bibles, well, then damn it, Star Wars fans can too. Just saying. That's my view on it. So Thrawn still existed. They brought him in the Rebels. Don't care. That series still happened. Dash Rendar still happened. Why? Because if they bring Dash to life, you better damn well bet I'm running to whatever studio is doing it, and I'm going to be like, redhead, right here, let's do this. Dash Rendar was a ginger. What do I got to do?
Time to make this happen.
Let's make it happen, baby. Let's make it happen.
They're bringing back Thrawn. Did we already mention that?
Well, they did.
Like
so
Thrawn is canon.
They brought him into Rebels, which now makes him canon in Disney's line. But again, I haven't seen any Rebels.
No, nor have I, actually.
But again, I've heard it's really good. BJ Keaton, who was on the podcast, said that Darth Vader is like terrifying in that show. And what's cool about it is they actually based Vader's animation off of Frank McGuire's original drawings of the character. So like it has that sort of longer face than what we know, which is kind of cool.
Have you checked out any of the comics? There was a sweet comic I looked at that is now canon that Disney did. It's like a interquel, I think, between A New Hope and Empire. Or maybe I think so. And Luke has a little run-in with Vader, and it has Vader reminiscing and stuff like that.
I haven't seen that one. I know they've been releasing a lot of comics, like Marvel, has now been doing them. Dark Horse did them for a while. I loved the Dark Horse series they did, where in canon at one point,
lightsaber and all that stuff.
Yeah, where like Luke actually goes to the dark side and becomes an apostle of the Emperor, who had cloned himself and continued to clone himself. Because like he would die and then a clone would come back because his body wasn't able to stay alive for some shit. So Luke like went to the dark side so that he could overthrow the Emperor and kill all the clones so that he could finally be dead forever. But let's be honest, my real big hope is that Ben Solo, which still irks me a little bit. Like, come on, guys, like. You're going to call him Ben Solo when you already have millions of fans. You're going to be like, no, it's Ben Skywalker, you motherfucker. It's Ben Skywalker. My big hope when Han went out there, I was like, please say Jason. Please say it. Please say it. He didn't. But that's what I kind of hope that Kylo Ren's story arc is that he's sort of a modern version of Darth Sadus. Or Cadus. Is it Sadus or Cadus? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Roman would probably fucking kill me, but whatever.
I don't know.
I believe it's Cadus. Like that CAE.
CAE,
I mean, that's typically where I would take it.
That's a good point.
So, but I could be wrong. But yeah, dude, it looks like, I would love to see them follow that story arc. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And plus, it would bring something good to the universe, like to the mainstream universe, that a lot of people probably aren't uber familiar with. So,
yeah. I do hope there's some new stuff, and they sort of it does diverge from that. But dude, he's just so badass. He's just so good.
We also got to find out who Steve Snoke is.
Oh, Supreme Leader Snoke or whatever.
Yeah,
I call him Steve just because
Steve Snoke,
yeah.
Supreme Leader Steve Snoke.
Yeah, we gotta find out who Steve Snoke is. What the fuck are Poe and Finn gonna do?
Yeah,
what the fuck are they gonna do? Hang out?
That's obviously, hopefully, again, we get a little teaser. We find out. We'll find out more in 8, but. There's a lot of questions, like how the fuck did damn. See, I don't even remember her name. How the fuck did she get Luke's saber? Like, were you just like,
Oh, how did Ray get? Yeah.
Maz. No, Maz.
Oh no,
Maz. Yeah, Maz.
Maz.
Yeah. How does she
find that out too?
Well, and she says like, "I'll tell you later" or something like that. Like, that's a story for another time. And I'm like, no, that's a story for now, bitch.
You know what I really hope is I hope we find out that like Jyn in Rogue One is Rey's mother. Like I'd love to see that be something that they go with.
It would break from her being a Skywalker, which is what everybody wants and is saying right now.
Well, I mean, dude, maybe Luke got with Jyn, but
yeah, but there's some ridiculous YouTube videos out there, by the way, and like
there are
any shred of evidence at all. They're like the worst conspiracy flat Earth videos.
Oh, they're awful. They're all like, look, the idea. And I presented it in Sure Possible, but it doesn't fly really in the face of some things that have been written. Like the idea that Snoke is Pelagus, I can see it, but if he was the Dark Lord of the Sith and was more powerful than the Emperor, why the hell would he let the Emperor take over? That doesn't sound like what a Sith would do whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, no. Unless there's like another universe that he was going to conquer, which then you're like, okay, so you're bringing in another galaxy. Well, fuck off. Like, don't do that. We only care about this galaxy. Yeah, that like there really are some weird conspiracies out there that people have come up with. That like some people think that I saw one where people think that Rey is Obi-Wan Kenobi reincarnated.
That's just a little too ridiculous.
I have not seen that. Don't know if I want to actually.
Yeah, something with like because they could like. So if Anakin was conceived by the Force, and at the end of Sith, which is the only thing that one question I got answered. Is, because Yoda was like, oh, I've been communing with Qui-Gon. I can show you how to, like, stay in the Force forever. That's why Ben can do what he does, and that's why he, like, sacrifices himself and can still show up. So, like, maybe he found a way in death to, like, bring back life, so he put himself into... And that's the guy's theory, and I'm like, guys, we've had one movie.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Yeah.
But dude, I think if anything, it just goes to show again just how fucking rabid fans are about this, and that's such a testament to the wonder of the series.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the series, and what I love about the universe is because, I mean, not only is it a whole new universe of heroes and people to look up to, and that myths that we can aspire to, because again, they don't exist ever except on film and as actors. There's a movie, by the way, and it's a really old movie. Matthew McConaughey was in it. Christian Bale was in it. If you know it, do you know what it is?
Reign of Fire.
Yes, there we go. I had a feeling I was waiting. Reign of Fire, where they act out because the world has ended and they're having to hide from dragons. They act out Star Wars in front of the kids. And I'm just like, you know what? If that's how like people were to tell Star Wars after like technology exploded and chaos happened and billions of people went on a giant zombie rampage or whatever, I would be cool if that was like the next myth that like people believed and carried on. That would be awesome. So yeah, I'm excited to see where they go. I'm excited to see Rogue One.
Less than 2 weeks, bro.
Well, as this goes up, we got days until it is released. But I like the cast they have. It looks really strong. So the only thing that I really hope for, and as a nerd, is I really need to see a Bothan spy, because even though technically they've been in a couple of video games like Battlefront or Battlefront 2, there's no, like, even in all of the literature and all the comics, they've all looked different. There's never been like one quantified thing for what a Bothan spy looked like.
Well, now remember, too, like the Bothans, the mini Bothans that died, that was for the second Death Star in Return of the Jedi. By the way, the mini Bothans didn't die for this particular one. That was for the Jedi Death Star.
Right, I know that, but they have to have some prevalence in the rebellion for them to, to be a part of the universe. So it'd be cool to see them mention them or show them in some capacity. Maybe even a very young Admiral Akbar. I would do that.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
Because as I'm reading back through the Thrawn series, what I would love, please Disney, I know you listen. I know you're out there and you're listening in. Could we get a House of Cards in the Star Wars universe? But like with the power struggle of the rebellion after the Empire fell? That would be
sweet.
Epic. Because like there's this whole power struggle that like Thrawn throws in and starts some a mutiny amongst leaders. Like that would be badass. And it could tie in really well with like episode 7. I'm sure there's some works, but right now they're really focused on all the Marvel stuff for Netflix. Or even a Maul series. Just give me Darth Maul.
He came back in the Clone Wars series.
He does come back, and he comes back in the comics, and he's basically a giant spider. There's a great fan film that someone did recently, and I'll have it in the show notes. SideQuestFitness.com/Star Wars, and you can pick that up and check it out in the show notes. There's a great fan film someone did. It's like 16 minutes long where Darth Maul has to go and track down some Jedi, and it was like his final test before he became Darth Maul.
Dude, put that in the show notes. I'd love to watch that.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. Speaking of fan films, are there any that you've seen over the years as YouTube has kind of become big? And even before YouTube, I know Ebum's World had some up, and people shared them on multiple different sites.
Oh yeah, there's did you ever see the cut where they took all the prequels and made it like 2.5 hour movie?
Was that didn't it wasn't it was shit was it wasn't Shia LaBeouf, it was a famous actor who did it. Oh, it was the guy from that 70s show. He played Venom.
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace did it. He cut it and only did it in a private showing for his friends because he was like, I can't show this, but recut them as one film. And from what I've heard, everyone who was there, has said like, this is what it should have been.
Yeah, like, there's versions you can find on YouTube. I don't know if it's his version, but other people have done it. It's pretty solid. It gets rid of all the cheesy lines and dumb shit. Like, no, this is pod racing. You don't get that stuff in there.
Yeah.
So it comes out pretty good.
And if you haven't ever checked it out, I'll put it in the show notes as well. You should check out Red Letter Media's. He basically watches the whole films, all 3 movies, and cuts them to pieces about all the horrible things that Lucas did to them. But it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So you need a good day where you can just sort of binge that. But Red Letter Media, you can find it on YouTube. Watch his stuff. He also does a cut of. He decided, I'm just going to randomly do Baby's Day Out and talk about everything that's horrible with this movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because John Hughes went from like teen movies to let's do a movie about a baby walking around a city.
Right.
Or crawling around a city. Yeah, so he does a lot of really funny stuff over there. But yeah, fan films have been fantastic over the last span of like 20 years. And I don't know if like Disney's going to cut really cut that out, like really sort of, hammer down that, look, this is our thing now. Like you guys, we don't really want you doing it, or if they're really going to let fans continue to do it. Now that I just thought about it, there's also a badass lightsaber battle between 2 guys in like a welding shop that I'll put up in the show notes as well.
You showed me that.
Yeah,
you showed me that. Yeah.
If you look really hard too, you could find a bunch of pictures of hot chicks dressed as Twi'leks and other assorted Star Wars characters and Jedi and things like that. Just saying.
I think you can just search that on Google yourself. I was putting that out there for the listeners because just
I think
I know that some people have their goals are to be able to go and do cosplay at Celebration. I have a client who has a goal of doing that, and I think it's really awesome. And I someday want to do it. Like I want a Dash Rendar suit. So final question, let's wrap it up. if you could go to Star Wars Celebration as any character in the Star Wars universe, doesn't matter if Disney says it's canon or not, is there one character you would totally dress up as?
Well, I've already dressed up as Obi-Wan. So, and that was for a choreographed lightsaber battle. Man, you know what? I think it would actually be really fun to dress up as somebody like Steve Snoke.
But go as like actual Steve Snoke, like Supreme Commander Snoke's little brother Steve.
Yeah. Like, look fucking cool, but you're just like you're a little dorky. You're not quite Snoke.
You're fucking Steve. That's who you are.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some good bounty hunters in Empire Strikes Back, like Bosk and Dengar and Zuckuss and 4LOM.
Dude, being a bounty hunter would be awesome. That would be a lot of fun.
I'm just thinking from a costume standpoint because I just got into that whole thing recently myself.
Prince Zizor would be cool too.
Oh shit! Yeah, I totally forgot about that guy because he's not canon anymore. At least I don't
he's
think
canon. They have the greatest Star Wars video game ever. That's canon.
That's what gets me is they got rid of the canon that was Shadows of the Empire, which was fantastic,
which is phenomenal. Which is why I said I would go as Dash Rendar.
Yeah, it was a great book and like, what the hell? But yeah, Prince Zizor would be a good costume.
Yeah. All right, that was the final question, and then I had another one pop in. So because we mentioned Shadows, and I said Dash. Favorite Star Wars video game you ever played?
Battlefront.
All right. Yeah.
Really, I haven't really played a lot of the Star Wars video games, but I did play Empire Strikes Back on Super Nintendo, so
dude,
that has to win because that's like one of the two games I played.
Dude, Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, and Super Return of the Jedi. Fucking shit. That Millennium Falcon level getting out at the end. Dear God, that was impossible.
I played the arcade games too. I strike that when we were at Barcade in New York.
New York, yeah.
I played Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars, and Return of the Jedi. That was pretty fun too. But I don't know. That Super Nintendo game was the shit when you're like a kid and you could wrap the snow speeders around the AT-ATs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, and they continued that for a long time. There was an Atari version too where you had an 8-bit AT-AT and an 8-bit, which is like a blop, just like going across the screen that was the snow speeder. But man, dude, any Star Wars game that comes out, like I'm always the first to get. I didn't have a PC for Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic. You know what?
I played that for like a couple minutes before, and that was really fun.
I kind of take it back. I want to say that Shadows of the Empire was fantastic. Rogue Squadron I loved.
I really loved Rogue Squadron.
Yeah. Battlefront 2. I mean, they were all, man, Knights of the Old Republic, dude. So good. Because that's a storyline I'd still love to see as well. Is Rabbit and Malik. We're at an hour, so we'll wrap it up. Again, this was just a Star Wars Geek Out. So geek out with us. Let me know via email, sidequestfitness@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter, SideQuestFM, at DT Bays on Twitter. Peter, yours is at Peter Baker.
Peter D. Baker.
At Peter D. Baker. And hit us up on Twitter. Talk to us about Star Wars, what you love, the scenes you love the most, the games you love to play, what film, what you're looking forward to. Or hit me up on Facebook as well. I'm probably going to do some Star Wars chats throughout the next few weeks. But I'm really super stoked. And I just love talking about my favorite movie of all time. So, guys, thank you for coming on and geeking out with me. And maybe in the future we'll have more giant geek outs. Probably like when the next Marvel movie comes out. And next year. We'll do one again next year. So, all right, guys, thank you so much.
And may the Force be with you.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror.